We spend so much of our time trying to fight against our body, trying to suppress bodily symptoms and try and block our body's natural processes. But at the end of the day, the body will always win. It's Ryan from the Center for Healing here. Today I want to talk to you about something called the rebound effect. I'm going to start off by talking about it in relation to addiction, but I'm going to weave it back and try and show how it's applicable in all of our lives, right? So I get asked a lot by people about when it comes to drug use and drug addiction, about detox and withdrawal, okay? People are like, what's it gonna be like for me or my loved one? What's this process gonna be like? I always tell people, because of this thing called the rebound effect, the withdrawal or detox phase off a certain drug is going to be the opposite to the effect of the drug when we're taking it, right? So let me give you an example, right? So let's take ice for an example. Someone's addicted to ice and they're about to detox and come off it. So what happens when we're on ice? We're super awake, we're super alert, we're motivated, everything's a good idea, right? Those are the effects when we're on it. So when we're coming off it, we're gonna have the opposite effect, okay? We're gonna be super tired, lethargic, unmotivated, nothing's a good idea, there's no light at the end of the tunnel, things are really, really tough, right? It's the rebound of our body's natural processes. Let's take heroin for an example. So what are the effects of heroin? Heroin will take away our pain. Heroin will reduce anxiety. Heroin will make us constipated. So what's the withdrawal phase of that look like? Well, we're going to be in a lot of pain, both physically and emotionally. We're going to have the jitters and a lot of that anxiety, and we're also going to be shitting our pants the whole time because our body will rebound of the effects of the drug. Now, bring this back to the rest of us in day-to-day life. We're doing this all the time, okay? We are trying to suppress the natural processes of our body with something external, okay? Let's give you an example. So say that I am struggling with anxiety, right? All of a sudden I'm really, really anxious. I feel like I'm maybe, I'm panicking. I'm really struggling. Now, anxiety is our body's way of trying to tell us something, okay? Anxiety is trying to tell us one of two things or both. Number one, there is something in my environment, there is something in my life that is not right and not going to help me live congruently that needs to be changed. And I'm getting anxiety because of that. Or the other one is there is something from my past where I have unresolved baggage that is now being triggered today by something in my environment which is producing the anxiety, okay? One of those two things or both, which our body is trying to give us information to help us, which is really, really cool, even though it does not feel cool in the moment. What anxiety is not is a lack of Valium in our system, okay? So when I all of a sudden take a Valium to help with my anxiety, it will generally work, okay? The anxiety will go down, I'll start to feel all right. Great, fantastic. What happens when the Valium wears off or I wake up the next day? Has the anxiety completely disappeared? No, because the underlying root cause and reasons haven't been addressed. So then I feel the need to take another Valium, more Valium, and up the dose to try and keep suppressing and suppressing and suppressing those bodily symptoms, but the body always wins. So the reason we took it in the first place has to come to the surface at some point. That's when we're caught up in this hamster wheel of just taking higher and higher amounts of things and different types of medications, because we're just trying to, it's like we're trying to, I just thought of this now. You're in the pool, right? And there's those massive inflatable beach ball things, and you try and hold them under the water, right? You try and hold them under the water because they're full of air. It's really hard. And the longer you hold it under the water, the harder it gets. And then as soon as we let go of that ball, it comes shooting up to the surface, right? It's the same with our bodily symptoms that we get. Same can be for depression. So depression, once again, depression's our body trying to tell us something. There is something incongruent, something not right with my life and the way I'm living it in the minute, or the circumstances and people in my life, or I have an accumulation of emotional baggage, which is now manifesting as depression. Instead, we might go and take an antidepressant, which is something external. Caveat, I'm not a doctor. I'm not trying to be one. I'm simply sharing ideas here, right? So I can take an SSRI antidepressant and I might get an alleviation of my depression. Awesome. What happens of people who take antidepressants, a certain segment of them, about half, will start to see some kind of improvement. Now, the vast majority then of that half, 6 months down the track, will be in as a depressed state, if not more, than before they started taking them, okay? Now I'm kind of caught in a trap because I'm as depressed as I was before I started taking them. Now, because I'm taking an external serotonin reuptake inhibitor, my brain's natural production of serotonin has gone down. So if I now go off this medication, I'm going to be in a real tough mental state, even more so than when I started. So once again, it's trying to push down these symptoms. Alcohol's one that we all do. God, I'm guilty of all this stuff, but I'm really guilty of the alcohol one, right? I'm so stressed, I need a drink. Who hasn't said that? I'm so stressed, I need a drink. So we start having a drink and it works. So we drink more. God, my stress is going down. My anxiety is going down. What happens the next day? Okay, how do we feel when we're hungover? We're anxious, all the stress starts to come back to the surface because we haven't addressed the underlying root cause. Because guys, no matter what it is, when we try and feel something externally to try and block the symptom of our body trying to tell us something important that's quite deep and needs to be worked on, the body will come back with the rebound effect and will always have to contend with the thing that we were contending with at the start. It's normally just got interest attached to it because of the rebound effect. So I'm not against taking things in certain situations to help us through a period. What I'm trying to say is, by using something external to help us deal with what's going on in here, it can buy us time at the best, but it is never the solution. It is never the answer. We've got to go deeper and do the harder work and find out what's going on in here in order for us to beat whatever those symptoms are. That is all from me today, guys. I hope you took something out of this. Have a beautiful day. Have a beautiful week. I love you all. Peace out.